Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this free workshop today. It's so nice to see some new faces. Little bit about me. So my name is Hayley Smith and I run Myriad. And once I get this working, there we are. Oh, here we are, somebody else coming in. So a quick little bit about me before we start. I am a small business consultant, and basically what I do is I specialise in helping small businesses and startups that are usually in their first 5 years. And that can be with personalised support, it can be through group coaching or even online courses. I have a background in running a company for a corporate entity before, where I worked for 6 years and scaled it to just under £1 million a year turnover. And before that, I worked in the non-profit sector, scaling non-profit for my local community, which I'm pleased to say are still thriving today. So that's just a quick bit about me. We will move on now to the workshop. So what I teach everybody is the basics to start with, and that is strategy. We all need a plan. So I love this quote, which is strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory, but tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So when you are just constantly in firefighting mode, you're constantly working in your business, pushing, working those long hours, as well as working in your business. So you're working on it and in it at the same time, and you are just reacting rather than being proactive. That is usually where a lot of small businesses fail. Out of the 70% of small businesses that fail in their first 5 years, almost 30% of them is because they do not have the foundations in place for growth. So this is what it is, very poignant quote to say that you need to have that plan in place for your business, because without it, you're working blind, you're winging it. Okay. So the basics around creating a strategy. And by the way, if anybody has any questions throughout, you should have, if you go to in the participant section or in the chat section, you should be able to raise your hand. Please feel free, or even just shout out and interrupt. It's no problem. I want this to be a very interactive session, so please join in. So strategy. So these are the different sections that you use in strategy. You start off with, you propose your mission. That is where you start, because you need to know what is your mission of your business. What is it that you're going to be doing?
I'll ask him for it.
Okay. Do you want me to? I don't mind.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah.
Next, you propose your goals. And your goals are those targets that you're going to set yourself. And we tend to use SMART targets. And these because they need to be measurable. Okay, so you put them in place to measure out where you're going to be. So I'm going to hit, when I hit £100,000 in sales, I know that my next step from that goal is to bring in an outsource VA or to hire somebody. Whatever your plan says, as you've been working through these things, that's what you do. And the reason you do that is because then you always know where you are and when you know you need that help. So you analyze it and say, right, I've reached my first target. What's the next step to get to my next target after that? We then go to examining internal issues and external issues. Now, these are issues within your business as well as externally. So I will cover this a little bit more in one of the next slides. After that, you create a SWOT analysis, which is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And from all of that data, you get to formulate your strategy. So, is it stop working again? There we go. So, in terms of proposing your mission and your goals, we start here. You take a bird's eye view at what you want for your business. You take your what, your why, your who, and your how. And what you do is this forms the very first major step of your strategy. So you look at your mission and goals and you say, what am I doing? Then you say, why am I doing it? Then you go on to who is your target audience? So your target audience is the biggest thing you'll need to know in your business, because if you're not in where your target audience is, you're not going to be taking on the sales. You're not going to be getting the name out there and increasing your brand identity and your brand awareness. And then the how is the actual strategy, the plan itself. Without any of this, no business can survive without the basics. These are the basics of every single business that you must have in place. So I mentioned earlier about the SWOT analysis: your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Now, this is looking at everything within your business. What are your strengths? What are your business strengths? Sorry, you can hear the dog. Only a little puppy. So yes, you look at your strengths. What makes you stand out from the crowd? What makes you better than your competitors? What makes your product better? What makes it sing? Okay, and you do the same for your weaknesses. Where are your weaknesses as a business owner? Where are your business weaknesses? Your product compared to your competitors? You must be really honest with yourself. If you're not honest throughout this process, then you're hiding things from yourself and from your business that you won't be able to overcome. It'll be too late. So you really need to be honest and go, where can I go wrong? What can go wrong? How can I fail? Because if you don't know the route to failure, you don't know how to avoid it. So then opportunities. Can you create new opportunities by bringing this product to market, by bringing your service to the audience? Where can you expand it? Can you forge a partnership? Can you look to gaining partnerships with charities or other organizations that work with your product or service? It's things like this you need to look at. Think outside the box. Can you turn it into something else? Can you diversify it in the future? It might not be from the beginning, but this is to help create that 5 to 10 year plan where you can go, in 3 years, or once I've hit that first major target, then I can say, right, now we can start researching into the next phase, which was in my opportunities. Can I see something else that we can expand outwards? And then threats. Are there any other threats to your business? Now, it could be that you might not have the control over this. This is usually things like legislation. It could be things like Brexit that at the time we couldn't have really predicted would definitely happen. And it's been up in the air all this time. Now we know we are out. And now is the time, if you haven't already reviewed your strategy and got Brexit in there and seen how you can overcome certain obstacles, then you need to be doing it now. You need to be having a look at what it might entail for your business. We also have something called a PESTLE analysis. Now, the business world loves all their acronyms: SWOT, PESTLE. They absolutely love using these little things. But it makes them easier to remember. So this is looking at what could either benefit or be detrimental to your business in each of these areas. So there are things to look at, to consider, to maybe keep an eye on, or something that might affect it directly now. So political. So right now, you've got obviously Brexit. You have changes in legislations. You have new COVID regulations in place. Things like this could affect people's businesses either for the worse or for the better. Economic, obviously, you look at how our economy is doing, how are other countries where you trade, how is that doing? You know, you look at all these different areas. Technological, is there new technological advances coming out that could save you time? Oh, knew somebody else coming in. Can they save you time, save you money, or would it be actually creating something worse for your business? Could it be a detriment because it takes away from your business? Legal, again, laws, are there court cases that are going through? So right now in insurance, there's just been a big court case that overruled insurance companies with the interruption payments for people's insurance for businesses. So that's obviously a really major ruling that can be a benefit to a lot of different companies. Environmental, environmental laws? Are there things that have happened, you know, taking, for example, the volcano in Reykjavik that landed ash and brought down half, you know, a lot of the tourism industry because it was affecting flights throughout Europe. There are so many different things that can go, they could be good or they could be bad. You don't look at this in everything bad, you look at it in, is it a good or a bad? Is it a pro or a con for you and your business? Because what could be a pro for somebody else could be a con for you, or vice versa. So it's really looking at each of these different elements and going, is there something that actually I can play on, or is there something I need to avoid to do? Changes in legislation, especially in some of my clients' industries, commercial heating, and they have to be on the ball for every single legislation change and British standard change. And then you have to then educate the customers after that as well. So it's things like that that can affect it. But if you do it right and you're on top of it and you're ahead of the game, it can make you different from a lot of your other competitors and help with your growth. Hands up anybody who struggles with their time management. Go on, there's got to be somebody there who struggles to think, oh my God, I have not got enough hours in the day. I have some days like that where I haven't planned it properly. And I go, why? Why didn't I do that? I didn't do my usual sitting on a Sunday evening with a glass of wine and going through my next week and planning out the tasks I need to do and booking them in my diary. Because the weeks I do that, I am the most productive. All right, it's usually when homeschool comes in, I go, Mom, can I do this? But it is the one thing that saves your sanity. And I recommend this to everybody. So Mark Twain said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So in order to grow your business, you need to get started. You know you have that to-do list. You know there are a million tasks that you go, this is the to-do list for my business, and it's as long as my arm. This is the to-do list for my clients, and it's as long as my other arm. So you're weighing up those two. Don't feel you have to get everything done at once. That is the first misconception. Everybody thinks that they've got to do everything straight away. You don't. You really don't. It takes time to grow a business, okay? And you cannot be afraid to say, I cannot do it all. So top tips for time management are literally going through your diary on a day-to-day basis. I do mine at the beginning of the week because that's when my mind is fresh. I've de-stressed after the weekend. I've not done any client work, so I am only focusing on me. And I sit there and I write down the lists of tasks that need doing and then estimate how much time each one should roughly take me. And then I go through my diary and I book them in as appointments in my diary. So then my diary reminds me and gives me a notification saying 5 minutes until email marketing time. Great, okay. I know I've set aside an hour to create some new email marketing. Sometimes it's small tasks that take 5 or 10 minutes. I still book them in my diary, because if I don't, and then I suddenly find out that somebody wants a meeting, or that I want to do some networking, or I've been called on a networking meeting to help out, then I've lost that time. Whereas I can look at my diary and go, no, I can't do anything until this time of day. I am not available until then because I already have appointments in my diary. You would never miss an appointment with a client, so why would you miss an appointment with yourself to get something done? Okay, so I recommend doing that, going through at the end of each weekend or whatever time suits you, that you are comfortable and you are relaxed and you are clear-minded on what you need to do for your business. And you just sit there and write a list. Even if you just write the list and then go, okay, now I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and have a look at my schedule a bit better, because I might think, well, actually, I don't need to do that one anymore because something's changed or whatever. So you'll have a little bit more clarity on what you can do with your mind, with your diary, and you can fit a lot more in. As I said, it is the most productive thing ever. But make sure you set alarms up for it to remind yourself, so you don't go, oh, I've completely forgotten. Okay, be strict. So this is just a little quote, briefly touching between sort of advertising. So a lot of people are going, oh, well, I have to market myself. I have to advertise in order to gain new clients, new customers. But you have to remember, if you are just spamming out there loads of posts randomly without actually having a plan, you're not advertising. And I thought this quote summed it up quite well. Creative without strategy is called art, and creative with strategy is called advertising, which means you're doing it because it's part of your plan. You know where your audience is, so you're posting it in those places where they hang out. You are creating advertising directed straight to them and not to the general masses. You are talking directly to the people you want to talk to. It is a plan. And that is what advertising is. And that's what advertising should be. Because I work with a lot of startups, a lot of people get a little bit confused around terms. So terminology is a big thing in business where it can confuse a lot of people with jargon. So I thought I'd just put this one up there just to clear up for anybody with any misconceptions about branding. So branding, a lot of people think is to do with your logo and your colors and how your website should look, but they're completely wrong. Branding is your perception, is the perception that other people have of your business and your company and your services. What you're actually thinking of, the design of the logo, the colors, the website, all of that, that is your identity, your brand identity. But branding as a whole is is people's perception. Your brand identity is your coloring. Your brand awareness is how much people see your business, but branding as a whole is about the perception, PR and things like that. So just remember that next time you're trying to go through and create your brand and go through and go, how do I want people to see me? How do I want people to see my business? That is what branding is. Okay, so don't get too hung up about the identity of it. You can get graphic designers to help create a cohesion, but they go from what your perception is, what you want it to be. So I'm a small business consultant. The reason I have my logo up there, the reason I have my logo the way it is because I was very particular about what I wanted it to embrace. I wanted the coloring and everything to embrace the perception of people, what people have of me and my business, that I work as part of a team, that I work as a partner, that it takes time, that we all have to give time to our businesses in one form or another, whether it's bringing somebody in to help with that or making myself do it. And that is how I wanted to make sure I got across. Plus, I also wanted a little bit on my own personality. So I am a big lover of things like steampunk. So I wanted it to have that sort of coloring. I wanted it to have all of that because it's interesting, it's intriguing. So for me, my brand is me. My brand is all about me, my personality and my expertise. Okay, and that's what people perceive as me. And so if I ask somebody, what do you think of me? Most people go, you know loads of people, you're very knowledgeable, you know how to run a business, you know how to start a business. That's what the perception is. And that's what I'm looking for people. And that's what you need to do for your business as well. So I get asked an awful lot about lead generation. So some people think lead generation is spending a fortune with a company, getting you a list of leads to then contact and try and sell your products to. In fact, there are several different ways that you can use lead generation. Most of them are simple things. So as you can see, content, blogs, emails, social media, that's people engaging with you, and the people that engage with your marketing and with your website and any forms you fill in, that is a lead. You then define them in terms of cold leads. Have they had any interaction with your business tool? A warm lead, somebody who may have filled in a form and they have, expressed maybe a bit of interest. And then you've got like the smoking hot leads that are definitely take my money now. Here you go. I want your product. and they are the ones to keep obviously a track of, make sure that your customer service is top notch, all of that. And so I'm just going to move the video around. So then you can qualify them. So on here, you've got marketing qualified leads where they've engaged with your marketing, sales qualified leads where they have filled in a form with one of your advertising, like Facebook ads. Somebody have a question? No? Someone's probably just not got that. I'm just going to mute them. You've got product qualified leads and service qualified leads. So I've put a little description with each of them there, because then there is different ways to obviously then target them, because it depends on what you're offering. Are you offering service? Are you offering a product? Because then you create the marketing plan within that. Okay, so you create, that goes within your sales plan. All right, and when you do your strategy, there should be a section about sales. How are you going to create sales? And this is where you start to talk about lead generation. Okay, it can get very complicated, but it can be quite simple if done right. So content on your website, it needs to be engaging. It needs to grab them and say, buy this product now. You will not get it better anywhere else. You know, your ads and your retargeting, your networking. How many of you go networking? Yeah. So I've got a slide later on about networking, but networking is a really good way to tell people exactly what you do and engage straight away with them, follow up with them one-to-ones. So that's a really good lead generation. And to be honest, 90% of my clients come to me through referrals and networking. That is how it works. You find what works for you in your industry and with your product. Okay, so it will be different for every single person. I've done a few social media tips here. So they're probably not rocket science, and you probably have heard them a lot recently because there've been a lot of social media webinars out there, which is great. The algorithms are changing all the time with all the different social media platforms. So keeping on top of them can be really difficult. But I've summarized just a few here of the major players. So we've got LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, you shouldn't use any more than 3 hashtags, and you shouldn't put them in your copy. You should put them at the end of the post. You should also, now this is a bone of contention with LinkedIn trainers, but some say you should tag people in the comments, whereas some have told me that if you want to tag people, you post without tagging them, go back in, edit the post, and then tag them. And the same with links to outside of LinkedIn. And this is because they reckon that the algorithms change the way of how many people they show your post to. I've not been able to get a firm answer on which one's which, so I kind of do a mixture of both and see if it works. In my opinion, it doesn't make too much of a difference, I don't think, as long as you have got an audience that you're engaging with. So don't just willy-nilly connect with everybody on LinkedIn. Connect with the people you want to be connected with, because then they are more likely to engage with your posts and you are more likely to engage with their posts. And that engagement is what will help propel you and your profile on LinkedIn. No amount of randomly messaging people is going to work. They're just going to see you and they're going to ignore you, not connect with you, and ignore any messages you send. So that is my top tip. And you can check exactly how well you are using LinkedIn for different things. So at the bottom of that box, it's got a little link there. If you check that, it gives you your SSI score, your social selling index. And what this score tells you, it breaks it down into 4 different categories. And it tells you how well you're doing on each of those categories. So one of them is your personal professional brand. So your personal profile, utilizing it, making sure that you've got it filled in with correct information, you're getting endorsements, you've got skills, all of that. You're building relationships with others, so connecting with the right people, engaging with insights, so posting interesting content that people can engage with. And then there's one more, which has somehow escaped my brain this morning. And the other one is to do with engaging with others as well. So they're roughly all form around the same thing, but they do break it down for you. And it is a great way for you to see what do you need to work on your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn feed to be able to connect with more people within your industry that you want to connect with. Facebook, we all obviously use Facebook an awful lot nowadays. I don't recommend using a profile for your business. So that is one where you have to add a friend, because you're not going to get the exposure. Facebook will likely ban you for it in the end because they're trying to stop this from everybody. But it also, if you create a personal profile, I would suggest basing it around yourself as the business owner, because then people can engage directly with you. You can see you're the face of the company. This is what you do. And then you have your business page set up and you link to it regularly. Okay. Images, try not to post images that are too large or don't have great resolution to them, because people don't want to see blurry images. It doesn't look right. They scroll on past. They don't engage with them very well. Try not to spam. Don't spam every single buy-sell group and everything like that. Try and pick where the groups where you think your audience are hanging out. Try and make sure you're relatable in your posts as well. Don't just do promotional. So in the Instagram one, it says the 80-20 rule there, and that applies to all social media. The 80-20 rule is 80% relatable personal content, 20% promotional. Okay, that is sort of the golden rule of social media. Okay, and that is because you'll get more engagement from other people on those interesting things, which means then the algorithms will show your post to them more. So the more they engage with that relatable content, the more your promotional stuff will show up to them in their feed. Okay, so Instagram, everyone says about 30 hashtags. Yes, 30 is the optimal. It's the most you can use. They do recommend you use all 30 if you can, but that's because you can then hit a wider audience. There is research showing that if you use more than 11, you do get a 442% increase in engagement than you did if you're using under 10. So even if you can't do 30, at least try and do over 11 hashtags. And as with most social media, for some reason, they would like you to like and comment on your own post. Now, this is because the algorithms, once they post, they crawl over them, the spider bots crawl over them. And if they think you've already got a like and a comment within the first 5 minutes, they think it's something interesting that they need to push out. So try and get engagement very early on in your posts, even if you do it yourself. Twitter, no more, I would say no more than 5 hashtags. It only really sees the first 5. And that's when it pushes out to those first 5. So make sure those first 5 hashtags are the most engaging ones you can get, the ones that are going to be popular, the ones that relate to your posts. Okay, try not to just randomly retweet. Try and make sure you quote with it as well. Again, you should get more engagement from doing that. And try using more video. Twitter is really trying to push video at the moment. It really wants to become more of a platform for multimedia. So it is likely more people are going to engage with it. Again, as with all social media, it is hit and miss for all of us, and it is constantly changing. I would love to meet somebody who is an expert in all of them, who can tell me exactly what the algorithms do, but it seems that even the experts get told that they don't always know everything because it is just changing so fast. They know what it should be doing, but whether it's actually working that way is another matter. So always try and keep up. If you do see somebody with some top tips, write them down, give them a go, see what works. So networking, as I said earlier, most of my clients come from networking and referrals. So I thought I'd briefly cover a few of the more popular networking groups that are out there, in case you haven't heard of them. Some of them do offer free passes and guest passes for the first session or two. And I work and I have been a part of some of these groups. So Your Partnerships is one that I joined very early on when they started only a couple of years ago, and went UK wide. They have now gone international. And they do a 30-day free trial where you don't even have to put in your card number or anything. You just sign up. Once your trial's over, they email you and say, if you'd like to sign up, here's the link, and that's it. So I'd recommend giving that one a try, even if you just use the 1 month free trial and don't sign up, because you can jump to any meeting you like. They have meetings all over the world, all over the country, different areas, different times of day, where you can then just go on as many as you like within that 30 days. So it's a really good way of pushing your name out there and getting those connections. The networking. Now, this one started out last year during the first lockdown. I know the person who runs it. He did ask me to come in and help him with it, but I would rather focus on my own business. But I do advocate his because I go to them. The people who go to them are genuine people who are looking to connect with others and make conversation. They are not there just for selling. It's a really lovely group, and they limit them to about 30 as well per group, which I think is a really good tactic, because you're not in a room with 40 or 50 other people where you could get lost or people will switch off during the meeting. Okay, so if anybody does want the details for that one, please let me know. There is obviously BNI as well. BNI is not for everybody. It is a lot of hard work to put into it. I myself am not a member. I have been to a meeting as a guest before. For me, it didn't quite work at the time when I was still new. Whether I would find another group more useful is another matter. So don't discount it, but they do only allow one person per profession. And it is quite expensive for the year. I think it's about £800. Now, if that's changed, please tell me. But the last time I was quoted, that's what it was. And you have to go to a meeting every single week, and you have to bring referrals each time. 4N is another one. They are not one profession per meeting, as far as I'm aware, unless, again, that's changed in the last 12 months. They have gone online. There is an online membership for them. I started to go to their face-to-face meetings before lockdown, and then I've been to a couple of online meetings. I'd say not bad. I quite enjoyed it, and maybe when we go back to face-to-face, I'd like to give them another go. If they start to do more meetings down here, that would be lovely. So I'm in the southwest of England. I'm in Devon. I only know of one group. If it turns out they have more than one, I might go along. Chambers of Commerce. So every area has a local chamber of commerce. So we have, in this area of Exeter, we have a Torbay chamber, we have a Devon and Plymouth chamber, we have all sorts. Go onto the Chamber of Commerce website, find your local chamber, because they will be the core business people in your area usually. They will be the ones who know all the movers and the shakers, because they want to be part of changing and keeping the local economy going. So I would highly suggest you find your local chamber. Federation of Small Businesses, the FSB, they are great for small businesses to join because they have loads of resources, but they do also do networking events as well. You don't have to be an FSB member to attend a networking event, but they do networking for members only as well. They do sometimes do special memberships. They base them on the size of your company. So if you're a sole trader, I think it's around about £150 a year, which is actually a really good value for what you get. You get legal help and everything. So I would highly recommend having a chat to your local FSB leader. There are other local networking groups. Each area will have their own various ones that are set up that are just for that town, city, county. So for myself, I live in South Devon, I live in Beverly Tracy. I have G12, which is mainly sort of Totnes, Chudley area. We've got some others, Business at Breakfast, which do a couple of different areas of Devon. You will all have those types of groups in your area. Just Google it, find networking events near me. And there is sites out there that will put all the events up, especially at the moment with them all online. There are a couple of sites that have popped up that only are offering find my nearest online event, essentially. And then there's WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is a fairly new version of networking. There are several groups that have started up, only started up on WhatsApp, no other form. They only do WhatsApp networking. So I have a contact with somebody who does that, and he runs over 150 different networking groups only on WhatsApp. They don't do video chats or anything. It's all conversation led. And he has them in various different industry sectors. So he'll have one that's about wine. He'll have one that's about startups. He'll have one that is about powerful women entrepreneurs. There are lots of different groups, and they are international as well. So if you are interested in that, pop me a message. I will send you his details. More than happy to connect you guys up on LinkedIn. I thought I'd just cover here a couple of points about outsourcing. I know it's a bone of contention with a lot of people because you need to have the money to outsource in the first place. But if you get just that little, say you get given £1,000 by the local council for additional restrictions grant or anything like that, what would you do with that money? I would recommend putting it into something to make you more money. And that would be hiring somebody in marketing, or getting somebody to do you some Facebook ads, or a VA to get a load of materials done that maybe you've been putting off. Talk to somebody who is an expert in their field of what you need, find out what it would cost, and try and use that money for putting it towards something to make you more money. Because then you are starting off a better train. You know, you are going forwards, you are moving forwards. And it's just then, because if you say, all right, it costs £500 to get a marketing campaign done, and you say, okay, to make that money back, I need 2 clients. They get you 5 clients. You've already then made money plus paid off the marketing you spent. Reinvest it back into it, because then they could double it. You always look at reinvesting it in the things that will help propel your business forward. Don't just let it sit there and go, oh, I'll spend it on the normal bills that I need to for my business, because then you're not utilizing it right. Find an outsourced person to really help with what you are looking for. I thought I'd quickly cover just a few tips for selling. Selling is a really hard thing for a lot of people. Most people don't feel like they can sell. So I thought I'd just sum up a few little tips. Storytelling. Using a story to tell somebody about your product is a really good way of getting engagement, to really humanize what you're doing, pulling them in and getting them to be related to it. Relating with your product or your service. That is what you want. That is sort of the golden tip. Because then it's not just a sales pitch. People are invested in it. They're invested in that story and why it's worked or what you're doing. So really try and put some storyline into your product. Create something that really sells it, that somebody reads, oh, I've read that. Oh, I feel really good about reading that. Oh, I'm going to go buy it. You know, it gives people different feelings when they read it as a story rather than a sales pitch. Follow up. Most important thing ever, always follow up with people you meet, with customers that engage with you. That could be replying to a social media comment that they've left. It could be that they've shared your post. So then say, thank you for sharing. That was lovely. Thank you very much. You know, it could be that you've met them at a networking event. Find them on LinkedIn, connect and say, so lovely to meet you. Because then they know you're not just sat there going, oh, I just want to connect with all these people and that's it. You want to be nurturing those relationships, not just with the people you meet, but with the people who are your audience. That's how you grow an audience. Be the good Samaritan. So I have always been known for giving too much away. Okay, I've always been the good person. Oh, Hayley, she'll help you. She'll give you loads of advice. It's great. That's fine, but make sure you limit it. Okay, so yes, don't be afraid to help somebody with a referral. You know, yes, you might not be getting anything out of it, but you are helping somebody else who might one day then help you in return. Okay, it's about showing personality and showing that you want to help. It's giving value, it's value adding. If you can help somebody, they're going to remember you. Okay. Sell them the solution, not the product. Have a look. What is it that your clients need help with? What's their problem that they need solving? Tell them what you can solve. That's what they want. So for me today, I can help grow your business. You know, that's what a coach does. That's what a consultant does. Okay, that is the thing I solve. People have struggled with the sales. They struggle with selling. They struggle with growing. My solution is I can help them with that. I can teach them the ways, the methods. Spell out the end result. What is it? If they sign up to this, what is it they're going to get? You need to tell them, this is what we're getting. This is what you will get. Okay? Be completely upfront about it. People don't like it when you hide things. It makes it sound, it just makes it sound like you're trying to con them half the time. And people are really wary about that right now because there is so much out there. Every phone call you get nowadays, oh, it's an automated message from Amazon going, yes, we're about to take 80 quid from your bank account, but it's not working. Can you ring us? Press 1, you know, it's people scamming people, you know. And this is what everybody is so on edge with at the moment. They're all on high alert about being scammed. So really try and be honest with them and say, if you sign up, this is what you will get. And then perfect your sales pitch. Don't sound like a robot. Don't memorize the same pitch over and over and over again. Try and mix it up. I was once taught by a public speaker, never start your pitch with, hello, my name is. Okay. And funnily enough, he was sat next to me and he did this right after I did my pitch where I started with, hi, my name is. Okay. And what he said is you should say something completely different to get people's attention. So the next person after him, he stood up and went, death. And everyone went, oh, okay. And he went, I'm a will writer. And then it was like, oh, right, yes. And he then went on and did the rest of his pitch. It was really interesting. It got people's attention. Of course, on that day, everybody then went around the room and went, oh my God, I've got to think of something to grab everyone's attention now. So it's quite funny to watch everybody change everything on the spot. But it made it more interesting, and it made it so much that everyone was like, right, what outrageous word can I say that's sort of related to my business? So I would say to you, give it a try. See if you can catch someone's attention at the beginning before you do your intro of who you are. All right, it's worth a try. It will make you more memorable. And during the last lockdown, I needed something to stand out from everybody. So I went, hi, I'm a superstar VA and I'm an award winner. You know, I would really sell it because that's what I did last year. I helped, as well as do my consulting, I was doing some VA work on lead generation with some clients because that's what I had to do to survive that period. But I had to stand out from everybody else doing it. And you know what? It worked because the energy that came out of me as I did it, people were messaging me saying, there were so many people on that call, I couldn't remember what everybody did, but you were so energetic, I have to talk to you. Can we book in a one-on-one? Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you. That's because I was memorable. So try and make yourself memorable when you're doing your pitch next time. So we've come to the end of the workshop. I hope you all have enjoyed today. I thought I'd just pop this up. So for anybody that needs help that's structured, but can't quite afford to go through coaching and things like that, I did create a course. Now, this is an online course for people mainly starting a business, but it can be used for people who are up to in business 2 years old, because it goes through everything from the beginning. So you look and you see, are there any gaps in your business that need filling in? And this goes through all of that. It is up on my website if anybody is interested, or if anybody is interested in sharing it with their clients, I would be more than happy to chat to them. Okay. And it does help teach you basically what I've taught you today, but in more detail. So it goes through the strategy bit by bit, section by section. It goes through marketing, and your sales plan and everything like that. And it even has some really handy tools, checklists, all of that in there. Here's my details if anybody would like them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording. I'll stop the presentation so you can see everybody on screen. And we will quickly go around, introduce ourselves and see who's here.